Hello and welcome. I am A.M. Snyder from Snyder's Sunshine Art Studio, where creativity shines. With over 20 years of public school teaching experience, I bring step-by-step art instructions and ready-to-use art lessons to spark creativity in students and offer art teachers a much-needed reprieve. Let's create something wonderful together. Well, here we are with some colorful paper and circles. Now, this art lesson is all about radial balance because we're going to be cutting and making our circles into these firework assemblage. Here we are yet again, and I have for us a set of circles, some colorful circles that I have cut into to create a collage of fireworks. Now, this collage means that we're going to cut and paste to make our fireworks expand across the night sky, but we can also turn this into a mixed media artwork by adding some glitter glue to sparkle those fireworks. Now that you see where we're going with this, you may want to have 3 different size circles that you could trace, or you could simply draw your own circles. What you would like to do is get a pile of colored paper. Now, I don't have a pile of colored paper right now, but you can see what I did with that. We take the paper, we take our different size circle tracers. So if I trace this on here with my pencil, and I have several sheets, then I can hold them together and get several circles of that size that are different colors. I have this tracer, which is a smaller circle, and I'm going to flip it over and trace around it. That's a medium circle, a large circle, and then I have the glue stick, which would give me an even smaller circle. I'll put it up here. Notice that I also am putting all my circles on one side of the paper instead of going directly to the center. As an art teacher, I know if you're watching this, you know where I'm going with this. We always use the edges of the paper. Don't go directly into the middle, because then you have this leftover piece of paper that nobody wants to use. So if you start on the edge, it keeps the rest of the paper clean, that you can use it in the future or someone else can without having this random object cut out of it. So that's just an art teacher pet peeve most likely, but I think it makes sense in regard to saving resources. So now I have 3 different size circles. If I keep the stack of paper pinched together so it doesn't separate, I could just cut up the side, have the rest of this paper left over, and just cut out my circles. If it is too difficult to hold the papers together, then you're just going to have to trace each of them on each of the colored papers. It takes a little more time, but it would help you to be more successful to do that than clamping the papers together. Then do it. All right. With that, I would then take my scissors, cut along here, and then cut them all out, keeping the papers pinched together. All right, so now that you saw how I got my colorful circles here, let's look at how I cut into my circles and getting this a radial balance principle of design established by cutting in and going around the center. There are different components radiating out, and they are the same amount going around, which keeps it nice and balanced, okay? So you could keep the stack together, or you could separate them. And that's what I'm going to do here, just so I can show you different ideas, okay? So I have 3 different colors right now. I'm going to put those aside. And I like to say when I fold a circle that I'm making a taco shell, right? Taco shell. I'm going to open it, and then I'm going to fold it the other direction, taco shell. And then I have this plus sign in my circle. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to cut a little bit up. This is always a challenge because students just want to keep cutting. And if they do keep cutting, they're going to just cut the circle apart. We don't want to do that, so you want to emphasize that we are only cutting a sliver of a pizza pie slice out, and we're not going to the center. If it helps, you could always have the students draw a little circle in the center. A light little circle, and then they know to simply cut to that circle and not beyond it. Alright, so carrying on here, I have those 4 creases. I'm going to start with the 4 creases overall, and I'm going to stop. I'm going to cut in, and then I'm going to stop at that circle I drew there since it's there to help guide me. I'm on the 3rd crease, and I'm cutting out these little pizza slivers. And I'm going to have lots of bits of things. So now, between the cut slivers, I can cut in the middle, and then I cut between those. They could be shorter. Again, going over here, cutting in here. Cutting in the middle. Little tiny pizza pie slices. Being careful not to tear the paper. And then in between those. The paper starts to shift, so you might need to pinch it a little more, stagger it back. You could do one at a time as well. It just takes a little more effort and time to do that, but if that allows you to be more successful, then so be it. Now these little bits, if you wish, you could hold on to those, and I'll show you in a moment what you could do with that. Alright, so this one here, I kind of did a little curvy, wavy line. So I was going to try that again with the larger one. So I'm going to fold it like a taco shell and fold it like a taco shell the other direction. And then I'm going to cut on the creases with a little bit of a wave. And then between trying to keep the pieces all together. Okay. And now I'm thinking I just want to play around with the edge instead of cutting between. I'm just going to use little tiny triangles cut out to make it look zigzaggy. Now, if you were thinking it looks kind of like flour, makes sense because flowers are radial balanced as well. Takes a little bit of time. Here's another thing as I'm cutting here. I always like to tell students to put the paper in the mouth of the jaw of the mouth, instead of the teeth, which are the very tips. At least that's how A.M. Snyder explains it. So if you put it in the jaw of the mouth, they're usually sharper back there. They don't get worn out as much. Students tend to use the tips of the scissors, or the very teeth of the scissors at the tip, and they get dull and worn out. And in addition, most of you might know this already, but A.M. Snyder had learned in the last 3 years that you can sharpen scissors by cutting aluminum foil. I think that's incredible that that works. I did it one year. At the end of the school year, I had students and I cut aluminum foil. I made a bunch of little bits of aluminum foil. I collected it with the hope to use it. And then the scissors were sharper for the next school year without having to purchase new scissors. Alright, so we have these bits. I'm going to pull the bits out of the way. And we have all these radial balanced collage bits too. Now it's time to organize. How do I want to organize it? I'm going to flip this over because the pencil's there. So there's that. And these are going to light up our night sky with amazement. Overlapping. Because we have the different sizes, we can get this overlap effect of colors. It looks bright and exciting. I have yellow and orange, or yellow and red already, so maybe I'll put an orange one here. And I'll put a red one back here. And I'll put the orange on top. Did I say red one? Hey, Snyder, get her colors right. A green one right here. Put an orange on top of it. See, the green gets covered over because they're the same size. Will that look better? No, I actually don't like that. So before we glue it down, we problem solve it. We lay it out so we can see what we like. I have an orange one here. I'll do that. And that. So I have 3 larger ones. Now I'm going to get some smaller ones here. Let's put this blue one here. Let's put the yellow on top. Put the red one here. Put the green on top. And then we can have like overlapping ones. Just overlap there without layering. Maybe we can have the overlap this way. There we go. And do I want that one in there? I think the more the merrier, right? So I have some leftover ones, and that's fine. We'll just put those to the side. Now I have these little bits, and I was going to take them and give it as though the indication of, like, I want to say streamers, or the effect of them being blasted off into the sky. Now they are little bits, so it's going to make your fingers all sticky as you're gluing these down. But it is fun, and that is the goal. So, as an art teacher, instead of having everybody go wash their hands at a sink, now I've taught in many places, in many locations, many different schools, where I had one sink, or I had no sink, and I tried to So these little strips here, I wonder how they will play out if I put them going around and coming from the center of the fireworks. I have to move this one to make this work. I'm going to spread them out evenly so it's well balanced. There we go. Put this guy back. I think I have another one in here, so put it right there. I like it. You may not like it, so don't do it, alright? And then again, I have these triangle bits that I cut out of probably this one here. So I could add those going around somewhat evenly as well. But it does get more tedious, so little hands might get a little overworked on this. Big hands might get bored with the tediousness, so it's one of those where you have to make a call as an art teacher if you're going to do this lesson with what group of students will appreciate it and take the time, especially if you're going to add the little bits into the design. If you're going to be like, oh, little bits are optional, then you have those students who are higher achievers who will probably do it, and then you'll have those who just don't care. Yes, I've taught 20 years. I know about the ones who just don't care. Sad, but it's true. If you're a student watching this, then most likely you will probably desire to give this a try with the little bits and design even more spectacular fireworks. Alright, so now that I have those in place, I'm going to glue them and then I'll come back to you. I have a glue bottle here. I originally had a glue stick and I thought about how the glue stick's going to leave residue on the black paper that I may not want to see. This is how I was doing this. I was just putting a dab of glue in the center and then putting the centerpiece in. And then I could put another dab of glue for the third piece right there. And then a simple dab of glue on the back and down it goes. Now if you have the desire to make these totally flat, then you're going to need to put glue on the edges or use a glue stick or a paintbrush and glue. I usually use those plastic paintbrushes that come with the paint sets that are very cheap. This way you can wash them better because they're plastic. The glue will wash off easier. Now that I have put these little additional bursts in there, I was thinking when I was gluing these down, I could do it within these smaller ones using, excuse me, the little bits from the inside out. So just drawing with the glue these straight lines and then putting in the little triangles. And that is just another way to build off of the scraps and to excite your fireworks for whatever celebration you want your fireworks for. And lastly, glitter. I'm not a glitter person. I have glitter glue, which will add some sparkle to our artwork and delight us even more. I thought they were my pliers. I didn't get my pliers here. So I have these bottles from the dollar store. Just pop these off here. Winter time, my hands get very chapped and raw, and my skin gets all, it's not so pleasant, I'll just say that. Each year I try to use lotions and stuff, it just doesn't work for me. So now I could take the glitter glue and I could draw out, it's making a sneezy sound, and add a little extra sparkle. I have some things hanging off my desk there. A little more excitement when it dries. But again, this is an extra. There's no reason to have to do it. If you have a beautiful fireworks display with just the cut paper and collage, then you could end right with that. No, I decided to sneeze at the end. Use some of this gold here. I have several things that are probably casting shadows onto the picture, just all around my workstation here. Spiral for the fun of it. Some dots. Maybe a dot in the center. Okay, and I kind of want to spread that out, so I'm going to get a brush here. And I'm going to spread this out. Don't know if you're an art teacher or if you're a student, you've ever encountered this where these brushes want to fall apart. It really shows that whatever the adhesive that they're using is not the best. quite fun. Now that I have that on my brush, I'm going to stroke it out from the center on this one. And pick up some more of this. Okay. I have glue on my paintbrush. You know what I need to do is put that in water right away so that it gets washed out. I'm going to use this red glitter glue, and I'm going to draw out from the center here. And just a little bit on here. All right, so I have some amazing fireworks to light up the night and bring a celebration to whatever it is that we are celebrating. How much fun is that? The New Year, your birthday, the 4th of July, or maybe you live somewhere other than the United States of America and you have fireworks for some other exciting event in your country. If so, please leave a comment about where you would use fireworks for what holiday or event and how they are spectacularly loud. But bright and colorful, and they cheer up the night sky. All right, hey, I'm Snyder from SnyderSunshineArtStudio.com. So very thankful for you joining me here as we bring in the celebration with pops of color going boom and kapow and rumbling through the sky as they sparkle up and explode. What excitement they are. I'll see you later. So I ended up having paper towels cut, and then I dipped them in buckets of water, and then the paper towels were wet, and I put them in a separate bucket, and then I was the one that handed the paper towels out so that students can clean their fingers. So that is a way to get around not having enough sinks or a sink. You just have wet paper towels. Yes, I know baby wipes would be a good idea, but if you are teaching in a school where parents cannot afford to donate such a thing, then you become very creative in how you're going to either limit supplies so there's not a lot of mess, or figure out how to clean hands. Now, if you are a student out there and you just are making artwork with me and you're like, well, I have a sink, A.M. Snyder, I don't have to worry. So be it. You don't have to worry. And that is good. It is great to have plumbing and running water. I know that is a wonderful aspect of where I live and hopefully where you live. Running water, clean running water for that matter, is a wonderful thing. I have been to other countries and I know that some really struggle with that. So there's that. Alright, so I have my fireworks in place. So the next thing that we will do is glue them all down. Yes. Now that's a process in itself. I also have over here in my pile some strips of paper I cut from the scraps. So you can see I have my scrap paper from when I cut out the circles. So I cut out these little narrow strips of paper, and I thought, why not lay them out to add another layer here as well. So that is a possibility, and we'll look at that, and we'll decide if we like it or not.